Have you ever bought a piece of fitness equipment that seemed like a great idea at the time, only to find it gathering dust in the corner a few months later? I certainly have. Over the years, I've accumulated my share of exercise gadgets, specialty devices, and must-have fitness tools that promised amazing results. Some were really too expensive in hindsight, because that's usually how impulse works. Some were awkward to use, didn't live up to the promises. Some ended up in what I call the fitness equipment bone pile before eventually being donated to someone else. Let's be honest, in today's economy, most of us don't want to spend money on things that end up becoming clutter. That's why in this video, I'm not showing you every piece of fitness equipment I own. I'm going to show you the gear that actually earned a permanent place in my training routine. These are tools that I use regularly as a 70-year-old trainer, bodybuilder, and fitness longevity advocate. I still strength train, I still want to stay strong, and I still want to keep moving well for years to come. Let's start with the equipment that helps me train more effectively. First category, strength training essentials. The first item is a simple pair of wrist wraps. I've talked about these before in previous videos. I can specifically remember a couple that were on a leg training. And if you've never used these before, they wrap around the bar and they wrap around your wrist. It's like you tie the bar to your wrist, and it helps you maintain your grip during a pulling exercise. I use them for exercises like rows and pull downs and deadlift variations when I find that my legs and or my back are stronger than my grip. Now, before anyone says, but shouldn't you train your grip? Absolutely. Grip strength is important. And in fact, they have recently been studying the association with healthy longevity and grip strength. It turns out that it's a very real way to be able to measure neurological connection in the grip of the hands. But there are times when my back and my legs are strong enough for more weight and my grip is not. So by not wearing straps, you're letting your grip decide when the set should end instead of letting your legs decide. If I'm working my back, I want my back muscles to determine when the set is over, not my fingers. Wrist straps allow me to continue challenging larger muscle groups without my grip becoming the limiting factor. For me, they're a tool, not a crutch. Next is my weight belt. A lot of people misunderstand what a lifting belt does. A belt is not a substitute for a strong core. If anything, it encourages you to brace your core more effectively. When I'm doing a heavier compound lift, the belt gives me additional support by keeping my vertebrae stacked vertically and neatly, protecting my nice little spongy discs. It also allows you to apply abdominal pressure against the front of the belt so that it protects against umbilical hernias and giving you better support in general. Now, do I wear it for every exercise? Absolutely not. Most of my workouts are belt-free, but when the weight gets to a certain point on a heavy lift, and that's a different spot for everyone, obviously, I think it's smart to have that extra support available. It's another example of using equipment strategically rather than depending on it. One of the more unusual items in my gym bag is a set of thick grips. I used to think that these grips were for men with big giant hands. I don't know. Maybe it's because that's who I always saw using them. I never saw women using them. These barbells were just too skinny for those gnarly grizzly bears. But that's not true, I've found. Having a fatter handle gives you enough real estate to strengthen your grip, even if you have delicate girl hands. They also give your forearms a good workout. And it's not as if you're going to get thick forearms like Popeye, but stronger for functional strength in life. These grips slide over the handle of a dumbbell or a barbell and instantly increase the diameter that you're holding onto. Sometimes small adjustments can make a familiar exercise feel brand new. And when you've been training for decades, a little variety can go a long way. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite low-tech solutions, a simple foam yoga block. Not for yoga, but for bench pressing. When performing a barbell chest press, I attach the block to the middle of the bar and use it as a comfortable gauge for the depth of my press. This keeps me from overextending the shoulder complex on heavier presses. I don't come too far back. Lighter presses for warm-up reps, I include that stretch. And then I apply the block when I'm ready to level up my progressive overload. If you're skeptical, consider this. Many of us lose some shoulder mobility as we age. Now, for some people, bringing the bar all the way down can place unnecessary stress on the shoulder joint. My orthopedist, who also strength trains, I wouldn't have it any other way, taught me the importance of aging shoulders and mobility and how to be careful and protect those shoulders. Now, I know a cadre of dudes in my gym who are literally beasts. But I've known them since they were in their 40s, egging each other on to go for that PR, cheering and clapping each other on the back. They're now in their 50s and their 60s, and they're still doing all of that. But they know how to use the blocks to avoid a rotator cuff tear when it matters. Happy shoulders, happy athlete. These are the tools that help me train harder and more comfortably. The next few that I'm going to show you may continue building strength in ways that support everyday function. Next up, ankle straps. Now, I know these don't look very exciting. In fact, if someone had shown these to me a few years ago, I probably would have wondered why anyone would bother. But these little straps have become one of my favorite tools for lower body training. They attach to the cable machine and they allow me to perform leg curls, kickbacks, hip abductions, and hip adductions. And here's why I think I value them so much. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass, unless we actively work to preserve it. But many people focus on just the large muscles that they can see in the mirror. And yet, some of the smaller muscles around the hips play a major role in balance, stability, and injury prevention. If you've ever watched someone struggle with balance, it's often a weakness somewhere in that chain. These straps allow me to train those areas directly. And unlike some fancy machines that cost thousands of dollars, take up half of your garage, these little straps fit in my gym bag. Not glamorous, but very useful. Now, if you're curious about any of the items I talked about today, the wrist straps, the lifting belts, the thick grips, yoga blocks, or ankle straps, I have gathered them all together in my Amazon storefront, and I'll put a link in the description below. As always, I'm not suggesting you run out and buy a bunch of equipment. In fact, that would be completely against the point of this video today. The goal isn't to own more fitness gear. The goal is to find a few simple tools that you can use to train safely, comfortably, and consistently. I mean, these are items that survived years of training, competition prep, gym life, and real world use. They didn't end up in the fitness bone pile. And we're not done yet. In part 2, I'm going to show you some of my most favorite recovery and mobility tools, along with a few inexpensive items that deliver far more than their price tag would suggest, including one piece of equipment that completely changed the way I approached cardio. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Click the notification bell. When part 2 comes out, you'll be on it. If you found this video to be helpful, give it a thumbs up. And let me know in the comments, what's one piece of fitness equipment you actually use on a regular basis? And I will see you in part 2.